So in the last class we have started our endocrine system, and we already discussed about the hormone and different types of hormone, like steroid hormone and the peptide hormone and amino acid derived hormone, and that are maintenance our homeostasis, that we have already discussed. So main target will be the sleep wake cycle and how it is controlled by our one of the significant gland, that is the pineal gland. So pineal gland is control our sleep wake cycle, and how they control. So first we check about the location. You can see my cursor here. So this is our brain. Picture of the cartoon diagram shown. This is our brain, and this is the corpus callosum. This layer, this is the corpus callosum, and then you can. Okay, so this is the region of thalamus. You can see this is the thalamic region, and that is the pituitary gland is there, and then that is the brainstem. So this is the position of the pineal gland. So it is shown in that region. So pineal gland secrete the melatonin, but when it is secrete the melatonin, I'll go through that. So it secretes the melatonin, and this melatonin is responsible for our sleep. So melatonin is a sleep hormone. So melatonin, our sleep hormone. So it is coming from the tryptophan. So tryptophan is an amino acid, tryptophan to serotonin, and serotonin to melatonin will form. So this is the our gland, and that secrete the melatonin. Now check on that graph. You can see that is the picogram in millimeter. You can see that is a 2 p.m. and this is a 8 p.m. and during the 3 p.m. and the 7 a.m. In the time of the day, you can see during 8 p.m. to the pineal gland begin producing the melatonin. At the evening time it start producing, and then it goes on peak during, you can say, 11 to 4 or 5, that is in peak position. But there is a 3 a.m. it's already in peak position, and then in 7 a.m. during our wake time it get decreased. So this is our that control our sleep wake cycle, the melatonin. Let's go for the mechanism. So how it will be done? So so that there is a light. If light is there, then it comes to the eye, and then this stimuli is going to the suprachiasmatic nucleus. So SCN is there. So SCN in the in hypothalamus region, and then it is going to the pineal gland, and then the melatonin secretion is there. And if melatonin is there, that is condition of the sleep. In the night cycle, the melatonin secretion will be high in that sequence, and in the daytime the neural and hormonal output, this light can inhibit that pineal gland to secrete the melatonin. So like it will be like two type of receptor are there, like you can go through that paper, that is a MT1 and MT2 receptors are there. So this MT1 and MT2 receptor that stimulate the MT1 and MT2 type of receptor that help to secrete that the melatonin in the pineal gland. So they are receptor independent action, and some of these are the receptor dependent action. So receptor dependent action is by circadian rhythm. This the sleep well cycle, like there is 24-hour. Our sleeping time start about from 8, you can say 8 to 6 or 7. So it's almost 10 to 11 hours. Our sleeping mechanism gets stimulated with that time frame, and it is the regular basics. That's why it's a rhythm. and along with the you can see the sleep wake cycle and the body temperature cycle, all are then the receptor dependent, and that helps in the melatonin in that case. Okay, so hope you can understand this concept very easily and how the sleep wake cycle. As our class is going for the endocrine class, so we are just focus about some of the hypothalamic region. You can see, so hypothalamus releasing the thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic releasing hormone. So these are all releasing hormone. That is not the, these are kind of stimulator that's going to the pituitary region and that release that kind of hormone. So these are the releasing hormone. So and some of the inhibiting hormones are there like somatostatin and the prolactin inhibiting hormone and the melanocyte inhibiting hormone. So and then we just going through some of the nuclei are present in the hypothalamus region. Okay, let's start with from downside. Okay, these are the nuclei like the tuberal nucleus that is responsible for the feeding purposes. So this is responsible in the feeding. They are mainly stimulate the feeding purposes. Arcuate nucleus that responsible for reproduction, growth hormone release and the energy balance. Let's going to the ventromedial hypothalamus, that is the VMH, that is the glucose metabolism and sex specific social behavior is controlled by the VMH. And this is a PMN, that is the pre-mammillary nucleus, the social behavior and reproduction is controlled. Mammillary body and learning and memory by MB. Supramammillary nucleus, the spatial memory, and their dorsomedial hypothalamus, their energy expenditure and the circadian behavior patterns is controlled by the DMH, dorsomedial hypothalamus. The posterior hypothalamus is controlled the blood pressure and stress. This is very essential, posterior hypothalamus. Lateral hypothalamus is responsible for arousal, feeding and reward, that is the LLH, lateral hypothalamus. And paraventricular nucleus, PVN, and that is the stress response, thyroid regulation, osmoregulation and food intake. So that's why PVN is very essential. And in anterior hypothalamic nucleus, that is the AHN, is responsible for thermoregulation and the defensive behavior. In the preoptic area, the sleep, osmoregulation and temperature regulations are controlled by the POA region. So you have to just remind few of these names and their position in the hypothalamus. Basically the most important is the, like all are the important, but for our sleeping purposes you see that some of the stress responsive hormone and blood pressure control, because in sleeping time that is also essential to maintain our blood pressure in supine position. So that's why the posterior hypothalamus had one of the important role, and for arousal the lateral hypothalamus is, and the stress response and osmoregulation by PVN, and these are kind of essential elements, and the dorsomedial hypothalamus that's control the circadian behavior patterns and also the lactation and blood pressure controlled by the SOA, the supraoptic nucleus. And suprachiasmatic nucleus, that is the main key player for the sleep and the circadian rhythm. So that is the SCN. This is the part of the mice brain's structure, but these are key nuclei are present in all over also in the human brain. So this is the part of the hypothalamus, the nuclei of hypothalamus and the role of the hypothalamus, and we are also covering their basic physiology of the circadian rhythm and circadian system, and also we talk about the pineal gland and we show the position of the pineal gland and the structure of the melatonin. Hope that you can understand this class very easily, and I am trying to make it more easy way to understand these complicated physiological systems. Thanks a lot for listening to me.